Okay, here's a video for you. I'm going to be tying something that I call the Organzic black StoneFly. I tie this in a couple of different colors. I'm going to do black today just because I want you guys to see this organza material that I use for the rib. So what I'm going to start off with is I just got a straight hook in there. You can use a Tiemco 200 curved nymph hook. You can use curved dry fly hook if you want. I'm just going to use a straight eye for right now. Okay, and what I'm going to start out with is elk hair. I've got basically a a hank of elk hair. This is basically a darker elk um, hair, and I'm going to tie in a tail, and I'm going to tie it in similar to what you see in the stimulator world. Um, this fly is going to be tied a lot like a stimulator, and it's one of my, if you're going to fish with a big bug, this is kind of how you want to do it. Okay. The thread I'm using is olive. The only reason I'm using it is because it's a Kevlar thread. It's very strong, and when I got to tie down elk hair wing on a fly like this, I want a good strong thread. If I had it in black, I probably would use black. But since all I've got is olive, I'm going to use olive. You'll notice how I tied in that tail. It's basically about the gap of the hook length, the hook shank, from here to the top of the hook, in length. One of the things that I do on my stimulators is I basically tie in, what I call the real tail. Okay, that tail right there is kind of like. We'll say, if you want to call it a pretend one. That's a little short tail, gives me some flotation in the back of the fly. The other tail that I'm going to tie on, and this is just something that I do personally, is I tie in 4 fibers of the same hair, okay, and I tie it in about half the length of the hook shank, okay, longer, and just tie it right off the back again. And what this does is it gives my fly a little bit different look than maybe some of the other flies that the fish might be seeing. It's just something that I do. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in, organza. That's what this stuff is called. It's basically boutique ribbon. Okay. Buy it in any Hobby Lobby. Ultimately, what you do is you take, if you'll notice this stuff. Okay, it comes with 2 sides. Okay, it comes with a rib on both sides, top and bottom. If you're looking at that, I cut the rib off of the one side. Okay, and then pry out all the little feathers, or all the little cross members, I guess is what you would call it. Okay, and I end up with basically something that looks like that. Okay, so when I wrap it around the hook, basically what I get is it's almost like a synthetic hackle. Okay, so. In turn, I'm going to tie that on. I'm going to tie basically the fibers down, okay, so that when I start to wrap, okay, I'm going to end up with, a hackle that, kind of runs up the length of the hook shank, okay. I'm going to start to tie on some dubbing here, okay, in the very back, okay, and I've got a blend of dubbing here. It's tons of different stuff. Only reason I do my own blend is just simply so that I can get a little bit of a mottled look. Okay, I don't think there's anything in nature that's straight black, straight brown. I think they're all basically different colors. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just work my way up the hook shank. Okay, it doesn't matter how nice you tie that on. It doesn't really matter because you're gonna wind a hackle and a rib over top of it. Okay, this to give you an idea, this dubbing blend has a mixture of multiple colors in it. Okay, it's got basically, I'm going to say, it's got black and brown to start, black and brown fur. Then I throw some thin synthetics in there. I've got a little bit of orange synthetic in there. I've got a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple. So I've got a wide variety of colors in that dubbing. All right, and I'm gonna just work it up, get myself a nice tapered body. I'm gonna go a little bit more on that tapered body. Shoot, might just use all that dubbing up. There we go. Okay, now got a nice little body there. Okay, and I'm going to take and I'm going to wind that hackle forward. Okay, all right, and it's going to start to rib, and it's going to really start to kind of show you what this organza stuff makes this thing look like. Awesome. Okay, there we go. Clip that off. Okay, I've got, you know, a few little wild fibers there, and actually you can come in if you want to. Okay, and actually brush out a few of those. It's never going to hurt to have a little bit buggier looking fly than, you know, what just is initially there. Okay, and then just basically mat everything back over. Okay, because at the end of the day, okay, you're going to want the fish to see something that looks like a bug. Okay, so I'm about roughly halfway, maybe just a hair more, 5/8 up the hook shank, something like that, and I'm going to start to tie in some wing material. Okay, so first of all, on these type of flies, I like to use a little bit of flash material. Okay, so I'm going to reach over here and grab. Should I grab that crystal flash? Yeah, I'll use a little bit of that. Okay. I got a few strands of crystal flash, okay, that I'm going to put in here. Okay, maybe 4 or 5 strands, something like that. Doesn't take a whole lot. Okay, all it's going to do is add a little bit of flash to our wing. Okay, and then I'm going to cut those off about even with the short tail that we tied on. Okay, then I'm going to take and tie on some CDC. Okay, CDC I'm going to use is natural dun. Okay, actually I might have some dark dun that I want to give a go. Yeah, it's dark dun. I'm going to give the dark dun a go. So basically there's what I've got. I've got dark dun CDC. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 feathers out of there. Okay, I'm going to go with the 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. And I'm going to stack 4 feathers right on top of one another. Okay, and I'm going to end up with something that looks like this. Okay, and I'm going to put that right on top of the hook shank, let it go to about the end of the hook. Okay, and then I'm going to tie that down. All this CDC is going to do is give our fly a little bit more flotation. Okay, you can go with a different color if you'd rather do that. On my golden StoneFlies, I typically go with you know, like a golden brown color or something like that. Okay, then I'm basically going to take and I'm going to add my hair wing. Okay, I'm going to tie on a hair wing. The hair wing, it's a down style wing. Okay, and I'm going to use that same elk hair that I used earlier. Okay, I'm going to clean out the underbrush, if you want to call it that. You know, under hairs on the elk and all that. I'm going to take my elk over, stick it in my hair stacker. Let's get them all in there. Okay, and I'm going to stack it. Okay, and then I'm going to take got a nice little hank of elk hair. I'm going to take and measure it off, go about the length of that little bit, about the same length as a CDC. Okay, I'm going to pull that onto the hook, tie it right on the top, and you got to make sure this wing stays on top right now. So just hold it right there until you're done wrapping. Okay, because you don't want it coming off to the side. Okay, so that ought to do it. So I've got a pretty good darn little wing right there. Good little hair wing anyway. Okay, and I'm going to cut this off at an angle so that it kind of slopes toward the front of the fly, so that I can basically wind forward. There we go, down to the hook eye, and I've actually got a smooth transition right down to the hook eye. Now I'm going to tie on a hackle on the front. Okay, I'll just use Grizzly. You can use brown, you can use whatever you choose. I use Grizzly for the front hackle. Okay. And then I'm going to use, it's sort of an olive golden, if you want to call it that, for the front, for the thorax. It's a poly dubbing, okay? And all I want to do is just have a little bit of contrast. Stimulator style, used to use the orange on the front. I'm just going to use a little bit of this golden olive on the front, just to stay in same kind of contrast as my organza that I wrapped on the back. Okay, I'm just going to wrap that straight forward. Okay, looks like I've got good coverage on there. Okay, then I'm going to wrap my hackle forward. Okay, let's go right there. You're just going to palmer that through the thorax. And once I got that wrapped, then I'm going to take and I'm going to just go heavy on the front. I'm going to take and I'm going to use the rest of this hackle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to just wind and wind and wind and wind and wind. And I'm just going to use the rest of that hackle just around the front of the fly so that I can just, get as much as I can. Because keep in mind, this is a big fly. I'm tying this in probably, I'm going to guess this hook is size 8 maybe. And it's 3x long. And it's a heavy nymph hook. So I need everything I can to keep that thing floating. Okay, and there you go. There we go. Okay, there we go. We got ourselves a decent looking little StoneFly at this point. Okay, big ugly bug. Okay, from the bottom view you get something that looks like that. Top view. Okay, so there you go.